Welcome to Mariposa Woolen Mill needle felting kit instruction. Felting is causing the fibers to intermingle and mat together, and there's a couple ways that you can do that. Wet felting is one way, which is hot water, a bit of soap, and a lot of friction. And the other way is needle felting, which I'm going to demonstrate to you shortly. The needles that you use for felting have ridges that encourage the fibers to grab onto the other fibers, and the more that you poke it, the more that it felts. It's always best to use a surface like a foam or a rice pad to protect the needle because it's fragile and it's also very sharp. Everything you need is included in the kit, so let's get started.
So the strawberry felting kit begins this way. We will first roll out our red roving so that we can create our shape of our strawberry. Taking the roving that you've been provided, we're going to just roll it. Roll it into a nice size ball. So just keep in mind that your felting will shrink down by 30% if it's fully felted. So what you start with may look quite large, but it will shrink down. So what I'm going to do now is just anchor down these loose fibers so that I don't have to hold on to them and make sure things don't come unraveled. I'm just going to poke them in. And then basically what we're going to be doing is sculpting that shape of the strawberry. So as you're poking, you're felting. The more you poke, the more felted it becomes. So you don't need to go very deep because we're just creating a shell. Unless you wanted it to be very, very hard from the center to the outside, I don't think that's necessary as far as just small little objects like this. You can create a shell, so you don't need to go very deep. At least past, if you notice on the needle, there's a couple barbs or ridges. Just going up to that second ridge is fine. That's deep enough. And you want to go over all of the surface at least once, and then you'll see that it's still quite soft. At that point, then you'll start to sculpt by working more in one area to push those fibers down, because you want to create a tapered shape. Unless you wanted to create some, because strawberries come in all shapes and sizes, it's up to you the shape that you want to create. But what I will be demonstrating will be a wider tapered at the end. So that's what we'll do. Just go over the strawberry surface all over at least one time. It's going to take several times of poking, but just go ahead and get that done. Now we'll concentrate on the sculpting. So if you're wanting it more tapered, you're going to give a bit more attention to this area. And sometimes you need to have more of a shallow poke if you're wanting, because you don't want this to be pushed in. So you want it to be, you want to kind of give little rings of felting as it creates that little varied edge. Don't forget to rotate it. As far as firmness, for a reference, it should be pretty firm because when you're adding on your seeds, you don't want them to disappear inside. So if it's really soft and you begin to poke, it will push them too deep and you won't be able to see them. You'll have to add more fiber. So it's always best to have a nice firm, fairly firm surface to work on if you're going to be adding detail. So once you've got your shape that you want, we will work on adding the seeds. So just taking small, tiny little slivers of, it's probably not the right term, sliver is probably not, but just a small little piece. Okay, and then just sporadically add him on here. Don't know if there's necessarily a pattern for seeds. Those of you, if you know that there is, then do it that way. But I'm going to just add them kind of in an interesting way, not staying to any certain line or pattern. Okay, and then just add your seeds all around. So you can choose to make the seeds smaller, as in the earlier example. And so it would be just less wool. Same approach though, just less wool. So we'll just move on to the next element, which is the greenery. Just taking the dark green that you have, and just we're going to roll it. We're just going to kind of make a cord, poking it down. Don't forget to rotate it so that it can be a firm cord all the way through. I just repeat that until you have a nice firm cord to add your leaf on and attach to the strawberry later. So now that we have a solid center, we can add our leaf. Just getting some more fiber, just going to fold it over to kind of make it thick. So we're going to create a shape. Now the strawberry leaf is kind of has little scalloped edges on it. And it's kind of a triangle, but it has scalloped edges. There's probably multiple shapes of strawberry leaves, probably depending on the variety. So whichever one you choose, you want to reference a photo. Just going to go with the simple triangle scalloped edge. So what I would do is I'm going to anchor it down, just trying to felt that flat. I'm going to flip it. Once I get a firmness to this, then I'm going to worry about my shape. Because we're going to add it to the strawberry like this. So there's a little bit of a loop there, and then extra to attach to the strawberry itself. So if you use loose fibers, then it's easier to attach to something that's already felted. So if you try to attach something that's felted already, those fibers are already separately matted, it will be harder for them to attach. So you have, basically you're just leaving yourself a little bit of glue and those fresh fibers to force down into the other ones. You can always add more fiber if you feel like part of it is not thick enough or firm enough, or you can kind of see through it. Just add a little bit more fiber, and that'll help your cause there. Okay, so I'm going to start poking in from the sides just to kind of get my shape going. So now we're going to anchor that down. Actually, we'll add just a little bit of the amber color and a bit of pink. So just the top of the strawberry, where the green part is, a little greenery there, the leaves for the topper. I pull it apart, but I'm going to be mindful that I'm going to have some of that fresh fiber on this end, which I still can connect. So I'm connected now. I'm going to connect it right here. Actually, up higher. Then we'll just add a little flour. I'll show you how to make the flour. Using the white that you have, we're going to pinch off about a thumb size. It's probably hard to see it. I'll show you how much I grab and then I'll put it on the foam. And I'm going to cross hatch it. So that it felts quicker. So if the fibers are just stay in line, then it's harder for them to find a partner to, as you're poking, as to grab onto. So if you cross hatch it, pardon me, it makes it easier to find a partner. That's probably enough. It's probably about 6 little pulls of fiber. I'm just going to create a circle in here. Now remember, you're going to be pushing fibers in from the side. It's going to be the same approach as the leaf. We're going to create a shape and then push from the side to sculpt. So we're going to make the circle and then create the petals once we have an established center. Flip it over, try and stay in that same shape. As you notice, it starts to kind of curve in a little bit because I'm pulling some of the fibers, and that's okay. Because that can help with the thickness too, if we wanted to roll it in. Because we don't need a really big flower. So rolling it in will help. And it'll have nice smooth edges as well. Let's just make this really flat, and then we will push in the sides to create our petals. You don't want to go too deep, because then it just makes more work for you when you flip it over. Okay, so from this point, I will start creating my petals. Okay. We have a nice big flower there. You don't have to make it that large, but so that you could see what I was doing, I made it that size. Just want to felt down those little edges of the petal, trying to stay within the shape. Creating those indentions will kind of give the appearance of a petal. We'll add the centers, a little bit of that amber color. Decide which side is your top, and we will felt down that center a bit, going into the petals just a little bit, so that there's a little bit of a curve in your petal. And we'll add just a little bit of the amber. I'm going to poke down the center. It's going to make everything kind of fold in on itself. Poke down, and then I'm going to twirl it in the needle so that I can get a nice little circle. Using my needle to kind of tame where I want those fibers to go. And then I'm just going to poke it down. If you wanted to add just a little, if you have some of the pink left over, you can add some of the pink up into the petals. It's up to you. If you wanted to make it look more like the little veins, then you would use less fiber. If you wanted the amber part to be a little bit more raised, then you just get some fresh fiber and don't poke it down all the way to the bottom. Just poke it into the same color underneath there. And very gently do it so that you can have a more raised. So if you just felt that amber color into itself without pushing it into the white, then you have a raised area. And then you can just attach the flower. That is a giant flower. That'll be a nice big strawberry. So because I have just a felted side, I'm going to add just a little bit of fiber here so that I can attach it nicely. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue between what I have felted already and my new flower, so that I can adhere them together. So this is our basic idea of how to achieve a strawberry, giant strawberry as it is. You can make it the size that you want, flower the size that you want, and you can add more detail if you'd like. So to get more detail, possibly with just using the colors that you have, it would be felting down an area, like if you wanted to make the vein of the leaf, you would felt in the negative space so that you can leave the raised vein, so that will appear as if it's a raised part of the leaf. So that is our strawberry.
Thanks for joining me today. Hope this video was helpful. So to replenish your felting supplies, just visit us at the farm market or on our website.